nuestras charlas son comparecencias. Un pasito más para la indulgencia. Un abogado por si acaso, y si el juez está de paso, termina dictaminando la sentencia. Salimos presuntos de inocencia. Pasito para atrás por si nos arrepentimos. Si nadie es culpable, pues culpamos al destino con el. Pero hace 5 dimos. Nena, por tu forma de hablar, intuyo que últimamente nuestras charlas son comparecencias. Un pasito más para la indulgencia. Un abogado por si acaso, y si el juez está de paso, termina dictaminando la sentencia. Salimos presuntos de inocencia. Pasito para atrás por si nos arrepentimos. Si nadie es culpable, pues culpamos al destino con el.
Don't say we can't, oh, just don't say another word. These thoughts you've imagined aren't real, aren't adding up. You fetched your ideas from nowhere, all from another world. Your logic's impaired, your full picture is cropped. Cause we both know one day they're just gonna try again. Without doubt, my say, if all's gonna mend. We both know that one day the sun's gonna rise again. So don't pout for our sake, cause this ain't the end. We both know that one day the sun's gonna rise again. So don't pout for our sake, cause this ain't the end.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another stream. We're back. I'm back after 2 and a bit weeks. I have been playing in 2 in real life tournaments. So first of all, I went to play in the Word Cup in St. Louis, Missouri, from August 2nd to 6th. And then for the following week, I went to Baltimore, straight from there. Didn't even come home, but straight there to Baltimore to play in the Scrabble Players Championship from August 9th to 13th. And here we are on the 19th now. Did I say? Well, I can't remember what I said. Well, 9 to 13th, yeah, I think that's what I said. So yeah, it's been about a week now, almost a week since the last one finished. So yeah, we have been away for a little while. Hope you guys are all doing well. We should be resuming the regular streams on Tuesday and Thursday. We're streaming a little bit earlier now, because now my kids are in school. I can start streaming a little bit earlier and finishing a little bit earlier too. So half hour earlier than normal. But yeah, both tournaments are really fun to play in. Both 31 games to get involved with, and really strong fields in both tournaments as well. So yeah, it was fun to play in, and especially in St. Louis. My whole family went to St. Louis as well. So my kids were there and had fun in Union Station, which is where the tournament was held. So we were all there, and my wife Lindsay said yay for early bedtimes. Yes, exactly right. My kids. So she was playing in World Cup, and my daughter Leah, who's 13, was also playing in World Cup in the WoW Division 3. So yeah. But yeah, talking about St. Louis, today we're going to be going through some of my games from St. Louis. I have my scorecard here and all my score sheets, so I have them all right here. I'll be going through some of these games that are on my scorecard, and a few talking points, a lot of very strong opponents, some cool things, some not so cool things, some bad moves, some good moves, all sorts of stuff that happened across 31 games. And yeah, I'm going to try and find some of the maybe the 6 or 7 games that were kind of most interesting or most notable to kind of share with you tonight. So yeah, again, hope you guys are all doing well now that I've been away for almost 3 weeks now. And we'll get going with the analysis of this tournament. All right. So, for the start of the tournament, so I have all my score sheets here, as I said. I've already analysed them all, and I will kind of do a quick rundown of how the tournament went for me. I do have a link that you can use as well. So if you put !standings, this gives you the final results for both WoW and CSW divisions, so you guys can peruse that in your own time. But yeah, I actually ended up finishing in 10th place, and I did spend a lot of the time in the top 5 or top 8 or so in the tournament. Actually, with the last 3 games to go, I can't remember if I actually did, but I think I still had an outside chance of winning the tournament. But unfortunately, I did lose the last 4 games of the tournament, which is why I ended up in 10th place. I think I started the day in like 4th or 5th or something. So yeah, I mean, disappointing to have ended kind of on downhill, but again, kind of, I mean, 4 losses against, you know, very strong opponents can happen, and actually kind of went through them, and there wasn't really a great deal that I could have done about a lot of those games. So better that I kind of was saying 4th to 10th rather than the other way, right? Not being in with the shot of winning and being mid-table and then getting to 10th. Again, everything kind of all ended the same way anyway, but you just knowing that you're competitive is always a nice thing. So yeah, let's kind of just go through these games. I'm going to go through some of the games myself, but before that I'm going to just kind of show you, or like go down round by round what happened before I start analyzing certain games. So round 1, I played against Chris Light. I got very lucky here, actually. This was pretty much the perfect first game to kind of get in into the tournament. I actually bingoed 5 times. He bingoed twice. I ended up winning by 120 points. It was actually a 1,000-point game, so I got very lucky there. So that's the first win on the board for me. And then, yeah, here comes the next 3 games. So I played against David Whitley. Not much I could do in this game. It was pretty much the opposite, actually. I bingoed once, he bingoed 4 times. It's felt like, I think there were maybe 2 moves where he bingoed, and there was no place for his bingo until I just played that move just before. So I just kind of opened up a space for him randomly to get a bingo down. Lost by 150 points, so that kind of negated my first game spread. Game 3, I played against Wellington. Lost by 40 points. It was relatively close in the end. Yeah, I didn't do too many things wrong in this game, I think, but tried to go out with a bingo to try and steal the game since I was a little bit behind, but ended up drawing into a bunch of consonants. So went down there, so 1 and 2 currently, and then game 4 I played against Peter Armstrong, and yeah, he had a few too many bingos on his side. Also, he had 4 bingos to my 2, so he ended up winning by about 70 points. So what ended up looking like a good start to the tournament, 1-0. I'm now down at 1 and 3. And then I have to obviously play, because it's a stacked field, I ended up playing as Rob Rabinski, who in round 5. Luckily, I managed to win this game, and he played an early phony, which allowed me to kind of push my lead even more. So I did win by about 200 points, and that was round number 5. So I'm 2 and 3. This is day 1, 7 games per day until the final day, and we're gonna analyze game number 6 against Laurie Cohen. This is actually the second time I've ever played her, so she's not necessarily renowned for playing Collins. I think that she is intending to play in Accra, Ghana for the Westpac this year, so I think this is probably mostly why she is ramping up her Collins game. But again, in her own right, very, very strong player. One of the strongest female players in North America. And we played out a very close game in Albany, which I managed to cash in. So she was, one of the few people at the end towards the final 2 or 3 games where I needed to win those ones in order to cash. So I know that she's going to be a very difficult opponent. So what we'll do now is move over to the Quackle screen, and we'll start analyzing this game. Okay, so here we are. We've got the start of this game ready. So I'm going to change the rack here. So this is my starting rack. Lots of vowels on here. I decided to play Yui. I actually need to remember where I played it. Actually, I don't remember where I played it. I need to find a picture of it somewhere. So yes, just bear with me. I was not. I guess I probably should have been more prepared. This is from the previous tournament, so I need to scroll a little bit in my records here. You can figure by the score of the next play. I could, but the thing is I played Yui and I don't remember where I played it, so I would need to just remind myself how or where I actually played it, which is really what I need to do here. Okay. But yes, hi Itihasa, good to see you. It's been a little while. Okay, so yeah, I have a picture here. Okay, so Yui, I played Yui here. I played it with the E on the center star. It's one of the only playable move that you should really be considering here, apart from exchanging. So yeah, if you kind of simulate this, I think it doesn't really like Yui much because it opens up a 4 timer lane. And also, still, I mean, keeping AIN, which is not particularly great. And also, you're putting the E on the center star. A lot of bingos end with an E. So, even though you're trying to put the U next to the double letter squares, well, it actually does seem that Quackle doesn't seem to mind this. It doesn't actually. It's not actually a bad play at all, by the way. This is all. They're all very close together. But I think that it actually wants to play something a bit more central, like UI here, putting especially 2 vowels. I mean, the U is not that much of a danger unless you have an X. The I mean, it arguably is, but it will probably open something up to the right. But yeah, it's not a bad play doing this. So we'll commit this move. Well, commit this move. Okay. So the next move is that Laurie plays MIG, M-I-G here. And then I have... Oh, that's not it. I have these tiles now. Feel like there's not like too many things going on. I mean, MIG does kind of block the board up a little bit. You're thinking about playing either a G on the end of this, which I don't really have a great move for, or playing Jag above here, and then I realized that you could actually just play Jag underneath UI, making the S a bit more useful on this board with Smug or MIGs or Mugs, things like that. Do keep 2 eyes, but this does end up being the best play according to the engine. And then she plays a relatively cagey move of underneath GI here. My next rack is this, so I'm not in bad shape here, but not many options for me here. I've got nothing underneath the J or the S's, so really I'm kind of forced to play like in this bottom right space corner of the board now with what I have. Looking to probably offload the X and score a good number of points. So yeah, I ended up looking or trying to find something like Mixty or Mixin. I think I probably just didn't see Mixty, and I ended up playing Mixin instead. And yeah, Mixin is not necessarily the best play here. I think it's the second best play. Things like Mixty doesn't put the E next to a double letter square, so that's kind of a little miss on my part. Mixty was slightly better because of that. Let me just make this a bit. Oh, so this is just fine. Okay, and then she plays Yill. So yeah, things like Mixty wouldn't have played here if Mixty was played. So Yill was the next play. And then I have this. I ended up drawing ADEO from my leave of EIT. So yeah, again, not really many options available. Just trying to keep scoring well and getting, in this case, getting rid of my vowels. So I do end up finding the best play here of Idola, which is 21 points, keeping ET. It's about as good as it gets, keeping good balanced leave. Next move for Laurie is playing Ran, R-A-N, here. And I was lucky because with my ET leave, I ended up drawing EILRS to my to that, so got very lucky. Started looking at what bingos I was going to play. Even before Ran was played, I have unblockable bingos kind of all over the board, but I did find the star play here, and that is Leicester for 94 as a 4-timer underneath Ran, which was pretty much perfect for me here. I was already 10 points ahead, so another 94 puts me up over 100 ahead, and it gives away literally nothing. Nothing on this tight board. It kept it very close, and this was a perfect bingo to kind of have at this moment in time. So after that, I'm now up by 104 points on a tight board. Then next, she plays Wio, which just extends the IO to Wio at the top of the board, trying to open up the top part. My next rack is this. I'm one letter away from like rotation or notation or whatever. Again, no real good opening places on the board here. So yeah, now that she plays the W up top, again, it's not a great tile to have as a 4-timer, but it does give me some options to score some points or to play something next to the W to try and rack up a little bit of score from my point of view. And I do find the best play of Noogie, 29 points. Again, kind of blocking off this part of the board as well. Again, with the W here, you could like fork the board, so to speak. You can open 2 different quadrants of the board and make things a little bit more difficult for me to kind of, you know, work with. Like I mean, something just as an example, like you could do something like twine that would open up things above the T, and then hooks with twine, and then it now becomes a little bit more tricky to be able to close the board back down again. Thank you to Muffled with Tentacle for the 29-month subscription that you've now given to me. I appreciate that a great deal. Thank you very much. Again, if anyone else is out there who wants to help support this channel, you can be a subscriber as well. Thank you, as always, and thank you to everyone else that's there watching right now too. So yeah, I played Noogie for 29 points. It was my highest scoring play, and blocks off things here, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of, you know, from my point of view, kind of open up the board. So seems like a good one to play. The next, she plays Cab, C-A-B underneath Leicester. Again, kind of thinking maybe she has an ass here, and makes things a little bit more difficult to kind of really do anything with. I did not draw overly great here, so I already kept AITT, and I drew HTZ, which again could have been a lot worse in the grand scheme of things. I can't complain. I got the Z and an H, which at least helps me score points on this kind of board. So yeah, I kind of prioritized. I mean, I can't really do too much about the S hook here. Probably the most likely bingo spot is with this S hook, and also just on row 14. The problem here is that the top right part of the board is getting closer to the triples. If my opponent decides to play like a 4-tile play down here, and just opening up different parts of the board that I can't get to, it makes things pretty troublesome. But in the end of the day, I decided to try and make this top right part of the board say a little bit harder, or put it more towards the edge of the board. So if she opens things up, then she might open up the triples for me, and also a way to get rid of my 2 T's. So I ended up playing Tath for 33 points. This kind of, I mean, for what it's worth, it probably doesn't really matter, but it does it leaves me with Zit next to it. I also have even Zit down here as well, so I do have at least a 30-point scoring play on the next turn. Again, this is also important because I'm already 100 ahead. Well, I will be 120 points ahead on a very tight board with no S in hand, so having a 30-point play kind of in reserve really is important to do, or to have. And again, the Z, if my opponent bingos and I can put the Z on a triple, or even with Scab, then I could do something there too. So just as it seems like a good time to kind of get rid of some of my clunkier tiles. And you can see here with the win percentage, I'm already at 97% chance of winning, and it does say that I have a very good, what gives me the best chance of winning after playing Tath. So Tath was played, and then she plays Lend for 7 points through the E, which again, I mean, 7 points to 7 points. I'm okay with that. She must be struggling with some consonants, and again, 7 point doesn't really do too much, so I'm happy with that. Next here, so I keep, as I said, I keep ZIT on my rack. I end up drawing into corn. So I have this rack now, and again, the top right part of the board is not really a danger at this moment in time. I'm now looking to try and block this bottom part of the board with the scab hook or anything with the E. So my kind of line of thought was that if I can get across here, if I can play my Z and score a lot of points, I can probably make my way across and try and obscure this S hook somehow. So I could play something like Zin or Zit, and then, you know, you could potentially play something underneath. But I thought, you know what, I could actually, you know, make it a bit more difficult, especially with 2 blanks and 3 S's unseen. I was going to play more tiles. So I decided to play Rosit here for 36 points. This also gives me a way to potentially play something in between the C and the R, like the A or an O or a U. I could play something in here, and then that would obscure the obstruct the S hook for scab. So that way, it actually gives me a way to really kind of, it gives me another just one more step away from kind of killing off this board almost once and for all. And it does seem that Rosit is the best play, or the winningest play, at least according to Macondo. Again, I'm just using, I'm mainly using Quackle for more illustrative purposes. It's easy for you to see what is really being played and what is actually going on here. But I think that Macondo really likes the defensive element of Rosit, and that it can, well, it really does obstruct the S hook to some degree, because now the S has to be in 6th or 7th position for a bingo. And I also get 2 more shots at hitting a blank or an S. So it does some good things, but I mean, I know it's not top on this sim specifically. I can actually try and remove some of these other things on this list and see if this can move a little bit quicker. But you can see that Quackle is at least liking this option, although it doesn't necessarily think it's the best option, but it is slowly climbing a little bit higher each time. And there you go. And now after about 900 iterations, it's now climbed to the top. So I guess Quackle likes it too. So yeah, that's what happened. We're gonna commit this. This is actually what I did. And then she ends up playing Byte, B-Y-T-E here underneath the E. She plays it pretty quickly, so I'm pretty sure she doesn't really have many other options to really choose from, which is good because I have this rack now. I have Centavo as a bingo. Doesn't play anywhere. Again, what she played with Byte does score pretty well, but also with the B and the Y floaters in columns A and B, it does make bingoing in that bottom corner without the S for scab pretty difficult to do. And it doesn't kill off some possibilities of playing through this gap here on row 13, which I could easily just kill off right here if I wanted to. But then when I kind of looked around and was like, let me just see what I can really just play, it seemed like the best play is, well, ended up being what I ended up playing, and it's Convey for 40 points. So yeah, I'm scoring pretty well. It checks every box pretty much here. It mainly blocks this S hook for scab. Plays off 5 tiles. I'm still going for the 2 blanks and 3 S's that are unseen to me, and it scores 40 points and blocks everything in the bottom corner. So it does everything that I want to do. So yeah, that comes down, and Macondo, or the engine, does like that play as well. Next, she plays, where does she play here? She plays QIS, so she actually ended up playing it here, which again doesn't really open anything, so I'm again totally fine with that. Let's see. What did we play next? Okay, so I kept AT on my rack, and and this was a really funky draw because I ended up drawing these 5 tiles from the bag. I ended up drawing E, F, U, U, U. So I avoided all the blanks and S's. Again, this is probably out of all the possible times to potentially miss a blank or an S. I mean, in this situation, and this probably could be one of them. So yeah, don't particularly draw well here. And yeah, obviously the number one thing here to do now is either to try and get rid of these U's for a good score, or just in a way to keep it blocked up. So I kind of have this what could be a nice parallel play of FU something 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 down here. Okay, you can fill in the blanks if you want to. But yeah, you can play something down here, although it does open an S hook, but it would score very well. But in what I ended up doing was actually playing VAU and Cure for 18 points, so I'm just trying to keep it blocked. There's no real need or no incentive for me to open up the board at this stage. I don't have any blanks or S's, so I'm going to play that. So the next move, she played Koan, K-O-A-N, in this spot here, opening up a 9-timer lane. And let's see, so I kept, wait, what did I keep? I think I kept this, E-F-T-U-U. So yeah, Uvia. Why didn't I play Uvia? Yes, so that was actually a better play than Val. I guess I was running a bit low on time or whatever. I don't know. I don't really remember too much, but it was actually probably the biggest mistake that I made in this game. So yeah, the E is not really useful here, and it's probably more useful to play up more tiles. But yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I didn't actually think about playing that. So yeah, I kept these tiles here. I ended up drawing P in the blank. So yeah, I was now in a bit of a situation where I actually wasn't 100% sure what to play. With this K open in the top corner, I was trying to figure out a way that whether or not I should just play Kef or Cap or something, or if there's anything that would play parallel down here now that I have a blank, or do I just try and kill off this spot? But yeah, I decided to make a more flashier play here, and where is it? There it is. I played this. I played Fuck Up for 42 points. Burning my blank, and getting rid of all my kind of bad tiles here, keeping ET, and also just trying to play off a few more tiles to hopefully get the blank and the S's that are still potentially lurking in the bag. Scored 42 points, and again, all these other moves are all here as well. They all open something up, or they don't close the K properly, or I just leave really bad tiles. So it feels like it wasn't, I mean, I know that the score differential is not normally as much as you would like it to be for using a blank, but just because the leave is so bad each time, I felt like it actually was potentially worth it here to just use this blank now and see what happens, right? So I know the win percentage is negligible at this stage because of it's pretty much a guaranteed win at this stage. But yeah, I mean, another thing to think about was that if I played this, I would actually leave 7 in the bag and not any more than that. And this is the move that at least would empty the bag if my opponent decides to bingo, and then at least I know what they would have, and then I would just win, rather than them playing a bingo and then still now guessing what my opponent has. But you can see, according to the engine here, and also Macondo agrees that this is actually the best play. So yeah, happy to see this. Actually, funnily enough, Ben Schonbrun was playing on the on the board next to us, and he was saying, "Oh, are you are you making this about me?" That's not nice to describe me. So yeah, we all kind of laughed about that, and Laurie was like, "Oh, I try not to take that personally." So it was kind of a nice moment to kind of joke about playing this move as well. So yeah, it was the best play. And then she plays Cag here to open up the S hook for Skag. So I have this. Okay, what's my rack now? I have. So I ended up drawing EF IR blank to my ET. So yeah, does look good now that I ended up playing off all those U's and F's earlier on in that last move. So yeah, there was 1-star play here, and I'll let you guys see if you can find it. I don't know if there are any Muff with Tentacle, then I'm sure they should let themselves be known now. It's absolutely no problem. No problem if you are. It's totally fine. So Firth was an option that I thought about too. Does empty the bag. Is it a Colin? Oh, that's an interesting one. I actually don't know. That might be... Oh yeah, it is a Colin. Sorry, it is a Colin. Sorry. There's a lot of other words very similar to this in NWL as well, but this is a Colin special, which I managed to find. So if you're NWL, don't look at this word too long. But it is a perfecti. Onto this P, I managed to find that for 98 points. So perfecta, perfecto, and perfects, all good in NWL. This is only Collins. It gets me 98 points. Feterita, as Muffet Tentacle said in the chat, that is the other only playable bingo here. Things like fit down here also arguably might be as good from an equity point of view. Oh, I don't actually have my Infinity Words up, so I can... Oh, I should do that right now. 1 second. Let me just get the Infinity Words thing running so you can use the define functions here. Let me just get this up. Okay. Okay, I think it should... Oh, does it work? I don't know if it did anything. Oh wait, it didn't do anything. Maybe this is a problem for another day. Maybe my auth token expired whilst I was away. Sorry. Or maybe if you can, oh yeah, it does that sometimes. My bad. But yeah, just come up with a core definition. In Ziziver it says it's an ascetic group of elite Cathars, whatever that means. But yeah, that's what a perfecti is supposedly. And yeah, that was 98 points, so I managed to find that. And then she ends up. You can see. Well, let me just put this in here, and you can see with the score here, pretty one-sided. I was just, you know. She manages to bingo here with Drouses for 96 points on Skag. So that was it. It was a 478-333 game. I was actually, I mean, I know that it was very one-sided, but again, I was just kind of very happy with the way that I mean, I got a bit lucky too, of course, but just how lucky, just happy with how I managed to keep the board kind of controlled at pretty much all the times. Luckily, she didn't bingo, so I managed to just to restrict as many options as possible, to the point that she got only 215 points after 11 moves. Again, luck needs to be involved in that for that to happen, but again, stopping your opponent from scoring more than 33 points, and actually that's the only score that she had over 30 points until the end, yeah, it's tough game. It can be a tough game sometimes. So, managed to win game 6 in World Cup 2025, puts me up to 3-3. I win the final game of the day 1 against Puneet Sharma, 492 to 330. And yeah, luckily, and also because he ran over time by like 3 minutes, really kind of did something very similar against Puneet that I did with Laurie. So I went from 1-3 to 4-3. Looks a lot better now. As 1-3, I was like in the bottom like 5 or 6 positions of the tournament, and then I ended up finishing day 1 in 7th place. So it was completely like, it was like the table completely flipped, and I was actually now in the top 7 after those games. So the next game, first game of the next day, I played against Scott Jackson, who hasn't been as active as he probably would like to be of recent times, but he ended up bingoing 4 times in the first 5 moves, and then on the 6th move he got just for 69. He got to a 520 point score, but somehow I managed to keep the score, keep the spread down. I did lose, but I did keep the spread down to 35 points with 3 of my own bingos, especially one near the end as well. So I was just pleased to get out of that with a relatively small loss. Game 9 was against Becky Dyer. So at the moment I'm now 4-4 against Becky Dyer. This was actually on the stream, so if you are wanting to watch old stuff from World Cup from obviously a couple of weeks ago, you guys can watch that on the on Will Anderson's channel. I'm sure he still has the footage there. Actually, my bot just came up with the stuff for you to kind of look at. But yeah, that was on the stream. Ended up winning that one by 68 points. Fortunately, she phonied near the middle of the game when she could have played a bingo for like 120 points. So yeah, got out of jail a little bit with that game. And even some of the people that watched this game liked my find of Naythles, Naythles. I think that might also be a Collins only word, but this was onto an onto an N at the top of the board, and I used the E as a blank, which people still kind of people talked to me about it in SPC and was like, wow, that was an awesome find. So yeah, that was a nice one to be involved with. Okay, so we're gonna move on to game 10. Did I watch the game? I don't know if you're talking to Sai Adam or me, but I did watch all my stream games back for the most part. But yes, we're going to move on to game 10 now. So I'm now 5-4. This game is against Kevin Fraley. Very, very strong NWL player, and has moved over to Collins over the past maybe 2 or 3 years now. And he told me he seems to remember which ones are NWL and which ones are Collins. So doing a great job of keeping those separate, and also working out the kind of nuances of the differences of how to play both in both dictionaries. This was a very interesting game, which we can divulge in right now. So let me just change this right here. And I'll just reset the board and everything for you right now, so we can look at this. Okay. Okay, so he is going first, so this is in the right order. Okay, again, I need to see where he played his first move. Okay. So first move, he doesn't have this rack, but he has EXO. He plays EXO here for 20. I have this rack here. Not a particularly nice rack to have. But after kind of looking around and looking at above, below, and Exxon, and just looking at what can fit on this board, I did find the best play of Uke, Y-E-U-K, underneath EXO for 30 points. Best move according to the engine. Here he plays Lien, L-I-E-N. That's 16 points. Actually, a lot of the stuff at the start of the game wasn't particularly interesting, so to speak. It was very cagey to begin with. I have this rack. I play Lude. It's right here for 12. Just trying to. I didn't really know what to do. Again, some of these moves I just burned a lot of time, which actually ends up becoming a factor later on in this game. You'll soon see. So he played Arvo, and then I ended up drawing the blank, but not being able to kind of pull the trigger on anything. I had this rack here with some bingos on my rack, but there actually were no playable bingos available. So I played Meld here. Wasn't quite sure what to do. Again, I kind of burned maybe 2 or 3 minutes of my time. Actually, maybe more than that. It might be about 4 or 5 minutes trying to find the bingo that didn't exist. So that came down, and then he played Toad for 23. I have this rack. So again, looking for bingos that could potentially play on this board. And there weren't any. Once again. Oh wait, sorry. Is this the rack I had? Oh no, sorry. This is not the rack I had. I had an extra R. I had multiple R's here, not an extra E. So this is actually what I had. I had 3 R's, and I played Rare for 21, keeping NR blank, which looks pretty good on the face of it, at least. So yeah, didn't miss any bingos here. Rare. So then he plays Anomi's underneath this, keeping everything blocked. I guess this is really the only kind of place that he could play, and or onto the D, of course. And then I have this rack here. So still kind of struggling with a lack of vowels. Again, it doesn't really help that I'm playing off my vowels at the same time, but yeah, I only draw into 1, and I'm kind of forced here to some degree to play onto this triple. I actually don't make the best play. I play Rare for 37, but probably should have played Fawn for 36. I actually didn't particularly like Fawn because it blocks off all these the bingo lane onto the U, and also gets rid of my N for Exxon, which is why I didn't play that. I actually played Rare and just keeping hold of this N, because now the N is worth more than, say, an S on this board. So I decided to do that. And then after his bingo, he ends up bingoing again through this U. So he ends up playing a blank Q and playing Quantile. So he now goes up by 94 points on this board here. Okay, so let me see. What do I have here? Wait a minute. I think I had this rack here. think it was this rack that I had here. So yeah, I decided to play Fur for 22. Keeping PG and P blank. Trying to open up some kind of bingo lane with the R and keeping my N. So that's what I ended up playing. He ends up blocking the R with Coir, C-O-I-R, so that kind of shuts that down pretty easily. But luckily, with my GNP blank, I end up drawing, well, I say luckily, this is not really lucky whatsoever, but I drew AIP blank, AIP, sorry, from that there, and I actually don't have a place to bingo, so now I've actually have burnt, I think at this moment in time, I think I'm down to already like 6 minutes on my clock. I mean, there's still 39 unseen tiles. So 32 tiles left in the bag, and I've already down to 6 minutes. I was burning time like nobody's business, and I'm again stuck in a position where there's no obvious easy play to kind of come up with here. And because I had 2 Ps, I was like, at the end, I was like, well, I've burnt another 3 minutes. I'm down to 3 minutes on my clock. I have to just play something. I decided just to play Pom here, getting rid of my Ps and hopefully picking out some kind of vowel or something that gives me a bingo ending with a vowel. And also giving me the option to still play a bingo ending with an N for Exxon. So I played the P there. And he ends up playing Uzo here, blocking this P off. Again, you can see with the way he played this, he ends up scoring 14 points from this. He could easily have just played something like ZO down here for 25, an extra 11 points. But obviously, really wanting to kind of close down the board as much as possible and not allow any bingos to come down. So he plays Uzo here and stays about 100 ahead. I was lucky here because I ended up drawing an E. There weren't many E's unseen to me, so lucky that I ended up drawing into something. So yeah, Jenny Papo that you're saying in the chat, even though I think I didn't even give you those tiles until you, but you already said that before that, was actually now playable. I'm going to remove all these from the suggested moves here. But you can see here, I'm 97 points behind. Ginipapo scores the most and actually gives me the biggest winning percentage. 22%. Again, not great, but better than 0 at this stage. And I'm down to like 2.5 minutes now, with half the game still to go. So this is not great. This is not looking good for me whatsoever. This is like a game where I'm looking like I'm pretty much done for here. I mean, I wish I had seen Ginipapo, because I did not. And I ended up playing Epigean instead, because that was playable beforehand. Loses impact if you disease that Epigean was available. Yeah, that's exactly it. So I ended up playing this instead for 74. Okay. So I'm now 23 points behind. He ends up playing Whis for 41, kind of opening back up a bingo lead as I draw absolutely nothing great here. I draw into no vowels. Again, I'm down to about 2 minutes on my clock, so I have to play this almost straight away. I play the word fight for 32 points. Again, the highest scoring play in this one actually is the best play according to the engine. And then he plays Ion underneath for 18 points. So I'm now 50 points behind. and then I have this rack, I believe. So yeah, again, I'm not looking in good shape whatsoever. I'm looking at how can I potentially come back and win this game? And looking at the board and looking at my tiles and looking at the clock, I'm down to probably less than 2 minutes at this stage. It's not looking good. Let's just be honest here. Not looking good whatsoever. And with a 50-point deficit, I'm now thinking about how can I just score points with these big tiles. The J doesn't really play on this board particularly well, so I'm looking at Taj under here, and then I'm looking at this triple, so I'm like, can I potentially get something down here? So I end up playing BY for 25, which actually is not the best, well, actually not the best play here. It's close, but not quite. I think it like Bevy here, getting rid of the V, and still allowing for Taj and Ya to play above the B. So yeah, I end up playing Bai for 25. He ends up playing Wag on here. Again, the other W really kind of killing me here, and opens up a further 10-point advantage as I don't really draw too well here either. So I have, I think I have this rack here. I have an extra T. So again, low on time, just got to play the easiest move available, which was the best play, and it was Taj for 31 points. Again, not really many good places for the V, but you know, gonna have to come up with something on the fly next time. So Taj comes down, and then he has an R, so he plays Drub and Rara for 26 points. So again, he's still very far in front, and after Taj, so I keep VITT, I end up drawing A, C, and S, which I guess to some degree is kind of favorable. It's better than obviously drawing the Q, where there's not many places for it to go, and you can see now there's only one tile in the bag. So with this now becomes very difficult to figure out under extreme time pressure. I'm now 55 points behind, and I'm wondering, is there a way that I can even like threaten some kind of bingo, or if I open a bingo lane, would he just bingo and win the game easily? Or what other threats are available from potentially both of our points of view? Where can this Q go? Again, this Q is still unseen, and that could become a factor at the end of the game also. Again, bearing in mind, I'm figuring this out with less than a minute to go. I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Again, this is all kind of self-inflicted, the fact that I spent 24 minutes already dilly-dallying on the early part of the game, and now I'm having to really really hustle here. So I couldn't really decide what I want to do, because the V was a really difficult tile to really shift on this board without really doing too much, because I have seen that the word static could be played in swag, but then if I have the V, then what am I going to do with it? I kind of figured that if I do something like Rev, just put the V here now, I have static and I can potentially play something up there later. So that's actually what I'm doing. I don't necessarily know how often this wins, but it probably doesn't win very much. But you can see here, this is actually, is it on here? Yeah, it is on here as one of the plays available. And you can see my win percentage is pretty much 0. Well, I say pretty much 0. It is 0. Ishika's was saying drum may be a mistake with a Q unseen. Quite possible, yes. Queen is a lifesaver. Yes, that is right. Through the E of Exons going down. G11 TI to Q stick, or the QE doing something else? That's a good question. But at the moment, I'm just I guess I probably should gamble on a Q still, or being on my punch rack at this stage. Yes, there are some ads going on right now, so we'll. You can see here with Rev that it doesn't really win in any way, but the V will be a problem, so I'm just trying to get rid of it for now, and at least that way, with a short amount of time, I can just deal with all the other things that I have on my rack rather than having to still sit on that V. So I ended up playing Rev in this position. So let me see. What happened here? So alright, okay, so I might try and wait for this break to end, but so you guys can hear what is going to happen next, because this next part is actually very crucial to the rest of the game now. This is his rack now. DEGLNQS. I have a static on my rack. I was not really expecting to draw another vowel, actually, so I had attics or static on my rack to play on swag. That was just going to be kind of a good scoring play for later on, and hopefully I could do that and go out in 2 moves, essentially. Which I guess in this case, in this scenario, I could do that. Muffin Tentacle is saying, does Britain have Taco Bells? Actually, I don't know. That's a good question. As far as I have seen, I don't think there is. For some reason, the idea of that is weird to me. Yeah, I think it's kind of weird for people in the UK also. I know there's plenty of Chipotles, but I don't know if there are any Taco Bells. In fact, I've still never actually been to a Taco Bell and ate anything there. I've broken my duck for Olive Garden, but not yet for Taco Bell. Okay, so let's get back to this game now that the ads have ended, which I think it has ended for most of you now, or at least all of you. This is Kevin's rack here, so he's up by 49 points. So what does he do next? He ends up playing Seg, SEG, and Swag. So this scores 14 points, puts him at 382. I'm pretty much overtime almost at this stage. So he's winning by around, what would that be now? 60, no. He's ahead by 63 points after this move. So it's like, this is not really, you know. Surely this can't be losable for him now. But he just played Seg. Importantly, he also just left the queue on his rack. So I'm now furiously trying to work out some kind of sequence to win this game. I will also point out the fact is that the Q only plays in one place and it's right here. QI above quantile. That stays open. And I will tell you right now, neither of us even saw the Q playing, can go and play there. Neither of us seen this. Neither of us. I mean, I to some degree have an excuse that I have no time on no time whatsoever. He just played Seg, so I wasn't really looking too hard for a Q spot. I think at this moment in time, as of right now, after Seg, I think I'm down to like 30 seconds. So now I'm just trying to work out where everything can go on my rack, assuming he can't play the Q, because he would have played it by now. I'm 63 points behind. I'm trying to find a way to score 50, 60 points because he has a D, an L, and an N on his rack. So he can obviously get some more points that way. But how can I potentially still win this? So I'm now going into the mode of just playing playing things. And it's quite possible that I may have done the order a little bit wrong, but again, I'm down to a very, very short amount of time. So, in theory, what I probably should have done is actually play off like a T here. Again, assuming that he doesn't see QI. I should probably play a T here to block any of these 3 letters that will play in this spot. Catfight, then Isna is an option. Again, Catfight doesn't necessarily score too much. But yeah, again, as I said, I'm down to 30 seconds, so I don't necessarily work out that he can play the T here. I decided just to play my highest scoring move of, well, highest scoring move with 1 tile, I think, is the C here. Pack and Chi for 15 points. So I just go with that. Let's just play that. Again, in my absolute haste, I'm trying to figure out how I can just slowly dig into this lead. So yes, as I said, he doesn't see the he doesn't see the Q spot, so he plays Do here for 7 points, taking it to 389 to 334. So now I'm using my A. I've got 1 A here. I'm going to play the A for 10 points. Now 344. He now has L and Q. So again, assuming that he doesn't see the Q, he's Q stuck. He's now got the L or the M, L or M to play through. So he plays the L here for Elm, which is 6 points. His highest scoring play other than QI. So that's that. Wait, come on the board. Wait, not that one. Elm here. So 395, 344. I have this rack. I'm now playing Yin for 14 points with the A. Now to 358. He plays An. I think it was here. For 4 points. So now he is, again, assuming he doesn't see the Q spot, he's now stuck. He's now got 399. I have 358. I need 22 points to to win this game. But now, bearing in mind, I have just run overtime. I've just went over time, so now I'm a little bit further behind. Instead of 22 points, I now need 32 points to win. So now I'm taking a little bit of extra time to try and figure out if I can actually eke out a win here. So I play my highest scoring play with my T. I play Tag. Again, just making sure I don't open anything new for Q. Again, I didn't even see a Q spot here. So I played Tag here. And again, running over time, and I'm about to almost run over time with another minute, essentially here. So he passes. He doesn't see the Q spot again. And this is where I play Isna. So I do see Isna, and I do play it for 21 points. So I do that. And now 383 to 399. And then he passes again. So that's that. And then I play my other T for teen for 4 points. So with that in mind, in theory, I should have won the game. But I ended up running overtime by, I think it would end up being like 52 seconds or something. So I ended up losing this game, 399, 397. So this was probably one of the most notable games that I played all summer. And then it was only until after lunchtime, because this was actually the game before lunch, I think. Only after lunch where I actually analyzed the game, and then I was like, I thought I played almost the perfect endgame. I probably could have played 2 here, right? Instead of at this situation, when I played Pack, I could have played the T here. Maybe this would have slowed him down with the D, and also would have scored a little bit less with the D, and so on, and might have been able to eke out at least 3 more points to get a win based on this move. But at the same time, he could have just played the Q here, and I didn't even notice that he could have played the Q there, and I actually told him after just before we started playing the next game that he actually had a place to play the Q, and he just was like, he couldn't believe it. So it was pretty funny that at that well, pretty funny for him at least, that he ended up winning this game still, because, well, the fact that he didn't even see the QI spot right here meant that I actually had a chance of winning this game, but I ended up losing because of time. So really, there was you could argue a comedy of errors in this game, where he could have just simply won the game very quickly. But the fact is that I was scurrying to find some kind of some 10-ply sequence that will allow me to win the game within the space of a minute. But I probably could have won that. I mean, granted that he's missed the Q spot, I probably could have won, even with running overtime. Or the fact that if I just didn't run overtime, I would actually be fine. If I wasn't dilly-dallying for the first, 5 moves, I end up burning half my time on the first 5 moves. I could have probably won the game that way too. So it was kind of a weird one. I mean, he just needed to make one not big mistake of not playing the Q. Or I could have just played a lot faster, or just maybe if I had a bit more time, I could have potentially have come up with a winning play. But ironically, the fact is that because I was playing fast, that probably, I mean, he was also running a bit low on time also. The fact is that maybe that kind of also, I mean, if I had 5 or 10 minutes to think about what to do at the end, maybe he would have seen the Q spot. So it kind of was a very weird game. By that, the Q wasn't played when it should have been played. And this is a lesson for anybody watching, that you should always look around the board for open eyes when you have a Q. And even if you don't think that it actually plays, there is clearly a space for it that can play. So you should always look for something, even if you don't think there's anything there. And another learning point is to not run your time so low so quickly in the game. And that cost me in the end. That cost me a 2-point loss. And yeah, you can laugh about it now, but it wasn't great at the time. So that was game number 10 against Kevin Fraley. It was a 19-move game. It's a crime that this wasn't streamed. Yes, it was not our finest moments by any stretch, but it was at least entertaining, the fact that the Q wasn't played. So yeah. Okay, so that was game number 10. I'm now 5-5. I'm playing now game 11 against last year's World Cup winner Etakaro. I actually ended up winning this game by about 150 points. Got pretty lucky, and couldn't basically stop him from really running riot like he normally does. So I won that game and got up to 6-5. Game number 12, I play against Brandy Whitmarsh. He actually plays an early phony, but I actually can't quite eke out enough points at the end to win the game. I end up losing this game also by 2 points. I ended up having to I was leading towards the end game, but I picked out all sorts of weird consonants at the very end, to the point where I ended up having to hopefully well, because he also ran out, he was running very low on time. Hopefully that he would play his highest scoring move, and then it would give me a good spot for like a 30-point play with all my big tiles. But he didn't do it. So yeah, he ended up winning by 2. So now I'm 6-6, and the next game, let's see. The next game I have here is against Dave Wiegand. So I'm 6-6 and I'm playing Dave Wiegand. So I'm like, this is not an easy tournament whatsoever. I like to think that this was played with a little bit more quality than maybe this one. So yeah, I'm just going to show you one of these games. Again, playing against Dave Wiegand is always fun. It's always going to be a good game, no matter what. So I just want to show you this one. Let's see. So let me do that again. It's him. Dave is going first. And let's save this. And let's go back to the start here. The World Cup field was nuts. It looked like an average of 1900 rating or something. Yeah, it was pretty close to that. It was very close to that. It was stacked, even if you weren't doing well, or as well as you would hope. It was difficult to try and get some traction to get up the leaderboard. So yeah, his first move was Pyx, P-Y-X, for 30 points. I was very lucky with this first move because I had the word install, and there's only one place to play it, so I play that underneath the X. Luckily he couldn't do much with install. He played Lee above it for 19 points, pretty much as best case scenario as you could hope for after someone playing Pyx and you're just playing something opening up a really dangerous triple lane. This is my next rack here. I end up playing the best move, which is I think my highest scoring player of Atrium, 23 points, keeping 2 eyes. I did think about playing Saimiri, but is a bit too open, I think, so I think Atrium is fine here. He plays the Q, QI for 22 points. And not only do I keep 2 eyes here, I end up drawing I end up drawing 2 more eyes to go with it. This is my rack here. I end up exchanging 5 here and keeping IT. So yeah, a few other better moves potentially to not exchange those. Maybe keep a T or something, but not much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. And then there's always a danger with Dave Wiegand that he is going to bingo, and he does bingo with Solates, picking a slightly more defensive option rather than playing Atriums, opening triple. So he does that. I was lucky with this because I kept IT. I ended up drawing 2 A's and 2 E's, but I drew an N, luckily, to draw into Tainier. And that plays in only one place as well with Isolates, so I find that for 71 points. And then he plays WO, W-O, here for 32. Here on this move, an interesting one. I did take a little bit of time to try and figure this out. I actually wasn't 100% of Bouche, B-O-U-C-H-E, because I wanted to play that here and just play an O. But then I was like, at the same time, this spot next to this E of Tainier is so dangerous that I should really play something here, even if I'm not sure of Bouche. Probably should just play something like Hobo and just take this spot out. It's a bit more difficult to use this top left triple. So yeah, statically Bouche is better, but Hobo here, I mean, if we can get rid of all these other moves, you can see that Hobo does come out on top anyway, by quite some margin. So it's better to play Hobo anyway, so I didn't want to waste too much time and played that. Alright, so the next move, he plays Power underneath Isolates, again scoring a lot of points here. 33 points. And I keep an O, sorry, not keep an O. I keep CEU after Hobo. And I draw a really, really awkward rack of, well, awkward 4 tiles of FGGZ. And that was not a draw that I had anticipated. Wasn't too sure what to do after weighing up a bunch of options, but I decided to play something that actually balances my rack and ends up being the best play according to Macondo, and that was Fuggy for 17 points, keeping CEZ. We'll have some scoring potential on future turns, getting rid of my 4 worst tiles, so that was the best play. And again, not a surprise that Dave bingos once again with Tidbits with an S blank onto Atriums. This was the 71 points, putting him ahead now. With my CEZ rack, I ended up drawing EEOV, so now the opposite problem. Instead of drawing a whole bunch of constants, I draw a bunch of vowels. And there's no great way of scoring too well with the Z. I'm now kind of looking at what I should be playing and where I should be playing. I can't quite get a big score with this triple at the top left. I actually cannot even use the Z in this triple or the V even on this triple here in the middle at the bottom. So I kind of do like a partial fish here of playing Eve for 34 points, keeping Co's, now drawing into an A or an S, or potentially 2 other tiles that could give me something to play with the Z at the bottom of the board, or even something high scoring with the top left triple. Eve is the best play according to the engine. And then after Tidbits, Dave draws into a natural bingo here, a Fire Dog for 85 points. He plays next to Tanier, which puts him now almost 100 ahead. So yeah, things are looking pretty grim now. I have this rack. I still didn't draw into anything that plays through the D for like 70 points. I'm looking all over the board. I don't see anything great, but I do end up, I mean, it took me a lot longer than it probably should have, but I end up finding the best play here for 57 points, which was Fozia. Up top here, I'm already 99 behind, so 57, and hopefully drawing into something potentially very soon would give me a chance of potentially winning this game. And then he played Key here next to Fire Dog for 39 points, keeping his 80 odd point lead. I have this rack now. I'm trying to look for bingos that might be playable, and I don't necessarily see anything. And this U here is actually not that bad with what letters I have, especially if I play off my U and my M. So I decide to play MU here for 20 points. You can see with the valuation, the rack leave of score is worth about 23 points or so. And with a U in there, it actually does combine pretty well with those tiles, especially with 4 unseen ends as well. There's definitely potential for bingos to be played. But yeah, Mu was what I ended up doing. I did not see, I didn't know if I wanted to play anything that was 46 points with the triple there. Maybe I probably should have rolled the dice, but I didn't in this case. I still stay about 60 behind. Then he plays Rin, R-I-N, next to Fire Dog for 24. And I was a little bit unlucky, but I do draw into a bingo here of Sarcode. It doesn't actually play anywhere. I'm looking for 9s through EL on the right side of the board. Looking through F and the U or anything else. I don't see anything. So now that I'm 85 points behind, I do need to try and score some points, so that way a bingo at the end of the game would put me within range of potentially winning the game. So I decided to play Credo for 47 points, which actually was the best play here. A very nice Discord was available here for 52, but again, this retains the ass, so I want to do that. So Credo does that and blocks a triple. The unfortunate thing here is that he ends up bingoing not only just with the other blank, but with 3 N's. So he plays Trunnion here for 64, which pretty much kills off the game. I'm now 100 behind. But I have this rack here. Again, no bingo playable. No bingo playable here, but this actually does give me a lot of different options that I can score a lot of points with, because he ends up drawing CDUV on his final rack, so he's not going to score much. Also potential that he could end up sticking himself with a C or a V, potentially, mainly with the V here, but there are some places that he could still play and would need me to block. But in any case, he decides to avoid that kind of thing from happening eventually. But I end up playing Ya for 38 points, because the other thing I could do was play Ashit for 48 on this side, keeping JA. So I wanted to play JA first, because I could do that, and I could still score well with Ashit at the top of the board. Also, I could play Ashit up here, and it still plays for like 30 odd points. So I wanted to just score with the J first, and do that. So I do that, and then he plays Cud for 17. He does this specifically because with the remaining V, he can play Vid here or Van up here. So that's why he took the 5-point difference, because otherwise I can now stick him with the V. So he does a very smart thing of playing Cud here for 17, but that then leaves me no option but to play Ashit to finish the game for 48 points, which ended up cutting the spread quite significantly, because you can see now the score is now, it finishes 505 for Dave and 480 for me. So, you know, was a lot less eventful here, but again, nice game to play against Dave as always. Yeah, 25-point loss on game 13, which actually puts me down to below 50%. Puts me out now 6 and 7. Which, spoiler, this is the only time in the, well, apart from day one, this was the last time that ended up being less than 50%. So, move on to game 14. I'm now playing Enoch Nawali. So I'm 6 and 7, and I'm playing Enoch, who is the champion of Africa, the whole Africa. Got very lucky here. I ended up bingoing 3 times, almost making it to 600 points. And I ended up playing a phony bingo here, which he didn't challenge, which was, I didn't necessarily think it was a phony, but it was a phony, and it's very plausible that that it was a word, but it's actually the word beaking. It's kind of weird, so I'm gonna type it in the chat. Beaking. This is a phony, not a word. So beaked is good. Obviously, beak is good. You could even throw in things like beaker and other things that are something related to beak, or even not. But it was only when I played it, when I put it on the board, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't look right. Why do I not feel like I've seen this word?" But then I was like, "Okay, I put it on the board, and I was like, I just have to play it now. I have to commit to this." And luckily, he didn't challenge. So yeah, I was lucky about that. and that ended up setting me up for almost a 240-point victory. So lucky that. Could have been completely different otherwise. Because 2 moves later, the G of Beacon gave me a 9 timer of Signated for 149. So I raced up to the 200-point lead after like 4 moves. So yeah, interesting. Did you see the Enoch Circle stream game? I did not see it, no. But yes, this put me at 7-7 at this stage. Okay, so move on to day 3. Also had an unchallenged phony. What was the phony? Overall tallness, Bune. Wow. Bune, as in unbe or abune. Maybe there's a lot of words in this dictionary to wrap your head around. So yeah, game 15, first game of day 3. I played against Joel Wapnick. I win by 120 points. This was helped by playing the word whapping, WHAPPING, onto the triple for 107. So just bear in mind that I played this word. It's kind of funny because he ends up hooking a T to it to make this word. And I looked at it, I was like, and he hit the clock, and I was like, challenge? And I don't know if he just did this on purpose, or he only just realized what he did after I challenged it. Because then he was like, oh wait, I guess you can only spell it with the H and the W the other way around. So I don't I don't know if he, like, I don't know what happened there. But that was just phony at the end of the game. Again, it didn't actually matter at the end. Was that when it... I should have been done. God, it didn't even cross my mind that whapping would even be close to having any hooks. Because at the end he actually had no vowels. So then I was like, what is he going to play here? Like, he's only going to play things that are like 6 points each. And then he puts a T there, and I'm like, see, he's like 16. I'm like, what? What did you say? And I was like, do we? And I was kind of like going challenge, as if like, do we actually need to go to the challenge station for this? But then I was like, then he got up anyway, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we have to do it now. But yeah, I ended up winning that game by 120. Game 16, I played against Wasim Khatri. Ended up winning this one by 100. And that was after he bingoed on his final 2 moves. So I was actually so far ahead in this game. I kept this board locked up real good. Just like what I did against Laurie. Got a bit lucky also to get 4 bingos down. And then he got to his 2 at the end. So yeah, I won by 95. Putting me up to 9-7. Game 17. I ended up playing the person in the chat right now. It's a typo. I ended up winning that game despite a phony. I played Lises, which, wait, let me just type in the chat. Lises, not a word, does not take an S. Actually, it didn't even cross my mind that it would even not take an S. But it was not enough of a problem for me to win this game in the end, because I had all the good tiles at the end of the game. And yeah, it was fine after all. It was fine. I still managed to win by 59 points, taking me to 10-7, despite a few errors here and there. Okay, so we're going to move on to game number 18. And I'm going to analyze this game. This is a game against Josh Castellano. At this stage, the current reigning SPC champion, because of course SPC was the week after this. As I was saying, I analyzed round 17. I played perfectly. Yep, same here. Same here. We're not going to talk about it. Wait, what actually happened? Did I actually play okay in that game? No, I didn't play that well. No, not really. Okay, let's move on to games 18 against Josh Castellano. Let's reset this stuff real quick. Okay, so I'm going first here. Okay, and let's just reset this on the scoreboard for you guys. Alright. So I have this first rack that is always a little bit troublesome. Because what would you really do here with this rack now? This doesn't I mean, obviously if it was easy then there would be a bingo, but there are no playable bingos and you're going first on this rack here. A lot of different ways you can go about it. You can phony, you can also play a phony. When I mean, yeah, we've been good at doing that recently, so interesting. You can also just exchange an O, which does yield a bingo a lot of the time. So yeah, I was kind of like, how much time do I want to spend on this for me to play 6 points or to exchange one tile? I feel like I should just play something that, you know, they're all probably going to be around the same, right? It's not going to be that much of a difference. People will accuse me of fastbacking after boon, which is hilarious. Play O, just like when you played A. So we're going through the simulation here. It does say exchange O is best. Or does it? I don't know. Oh no is also an option. Keeping reds. Good leave there. But yeah, figured that all these options, or the main options, probably not going to be that much difference between them. Let's just make a move. End up playing do in the end. 6 points. Again, if you're Josh and you're looking at me playing do, you'll be like, what is happening? What is going on here? What is he holding? Must be holding 5 very, very strong tiles. But he does not need to worry because he has Crooves as a bingo to play here. I think it's the highest scoring play that he could make. 73 points. So I have this from my last rack. Fortunately, I do have a bingo on this rack. I do actually play end up drawing 2 vowels, but luckily with Aranos that plays, but a slightly better bingo of Reasoner was available here for 66, which is what I did. Then he plays Nixie underneath that for 48, almost as much as my bingo here, keeping him up by 50 points. This is my rack here now, close-ish to a bingo. Nixie does block off a lot of lanes. It feels like this is a somewhat no-brainer. Playing If next to Crooves for 28 points. Just having the L and the S and the T all in hand, useful here, makes it a little bit more worthwhile. Then he plays Rake and Oik for 30 points. And so I ended up keeping IL RST a little bit short of vowels. End up drawing an A and an R to that, which doesn't yield any bingo. So now it becomes a bit of trouble here in terms of what do I actually want to try and do with this move, and are there any options that allow me to carry that out? But in the end, I couldn't really come up with anything great apart from just trying to keep some good tiles, get some score on the board, and also block this triple with the rake. So I played Trail and Trake with 27, keeping IS. It was pretty good. So I was like, okay, let's just try and keep up on the scoreboard here a little bit and do that. Okay, so this was a major turning point here in this game because Josh has what does he have? He has this rack here. So he has this rack, and I can't actually remember how long he took to make a move, but it felt like it was probably like 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe he was just going through all the. I mean, I can only assume that he was going through all the possibilities of what he was going to do here. And then he ends up phony bingoing, which was not something I was expecting him to do by any stretch. That was probably the last thing I was expecting him to do. But he played Cyalodons here. So the right spelling is with D-A-N-S. So I instant challenged this move, and it comes off the board. So what were his best plays here? So he had Ladino's underlaps. That is correct. That does seem like it is the did I not instant challenge? I was the it felt like I was I felt like I looked at it and then maybe it was a different game where I instantly challenged a move. But I had to look at it like maybe I looked at it and was like, did this really happen? For like 4 seconds. It feels like an instant challenge. I always say hold when I pretty much always say hold when I'm about to challenge, so something like 4 seconds to me is like an instant challenge. But yeah, Ladino's would have been the play here, but he ends up phony bingoing, so that is not a word. Okay, so let's do that. Yes. Yes. Okay. That comes with the board. Yeah, I made a face at that play. I do remember that too. But yes. Crucial move for me because that now gives me a little bit of a leg up now in terms of trying to get back in this game. So, I have this rack. I now think for a little while because I do have. What do I have here? Like, I have a bingo. I know that my opponent has playable bingos here. But what do I really do? So I have a bingo with the ass. Somerset. So I have that here. I think this blocks a lot of bingos, playable. But I did actually think about this move for a long time also. So let's just compare this, because I actually did not play Somerset. I decided to play Mo underneath Nixie. Somerset is not easy to find either, yes, for sure. But if we... Oh wait a minute, I need to actually... I probably need to do this again. And actually, now that we know his rack, let me do this again real quick. I have this rack here. Generate choices, and then specify my opponent's rack. Ladino blank. Okay, so if we type that in and we simulate this, you're going to see what happens here now. Somerset does not necessarily come out on top conclusively now. Is it Somerset like a county in the UK? Yes, yes it is. I think it's probably named after that. It is a place in the UK, yes. So I'm fully aware of that. It's more of a holiday getaway destination in the UK. Alright, so if I start trying to whittle down some of these options, let's get rid of some of these. These are not necessarily useful anymore. You can see Somerset doesn't come out on top at all. The Dinos plays underneath Nixie. It's about 14 points, I think. Is it 14 points? Something like that. Higher scoring than the next highest scoring play from his point of view. Not only that, it's probably worth a few more points because of how well positioned it is underneath Nixie, that it doesn't really give away anything. Whereas my move of Mo plus my leave of rest is incredibly strong. So it ends up being that Mo is actually a stronger play than Somerset, because I'm very likely to bingo again at some point, probably next move or two. And he is likely to play a bingo that now opens up a lot of the part of the board, but will give me a higher scoring bingo as a result. So there's a big swing there. All those different kind of nuances kind of add up after a while, and that results in a 4% win percentage higher than Somerset. So I ended up playing Mo for 30 points. So that was my move. Let's stop the simulation here, and that is what I did. So now he plays his bingo of nautical, 70 points. So yeah, 70 points here, good move. And then, because I kept rest on my rack here, I ended up drawing relatively poorly. I ended up drawing GGN from that. Again, very close to a bingo, but especially with the I and the A floating, but not quite anything that plays. So again, spending a little bit of time, do I keep a G for ING? I mean, there's no guarantee this I is going to stay open, and then I'm stuck with a G. So I decided to play IG for 10 points. Not necessarily here, but the other one. Well, actually there's two other places, but I guess I played it here instead for 10 points. So this is like, yeah, one of the best moves playable. So I'll do IG, and then he gets stuck with some U's, so he plays Ulu for 12 points. So I have this on my rack, ENRST. Again, draw relatively badly. I end up drawing VY from the bag. Again, not necessarily what I was hoping to draw, but at the very least I managed to score well with it, with Nervy. Best move according to the engine. I did consider playing Very as well, which was 38 points. Again, well, but then I have the N to potentially go down with, but playing things for the N is not necessarily that great. But the RST combo is so strong that Nervy is the play, and that's what I did. Then he plays Tsar and Tsar here, so blocks a few bingo lanes, although I have the S. But luckily now I do draw into a bingo. I have this rack, again, not the prettiest of racks, but at the same time the I does stay open, and I have Rigorist for 86 points, which comes down instantly. Nothing else to really think about once you see that. Potentially, unfortunately for me, he ends up bingoing again. He plays Primate here for 67 points. I think the only playable, one of the few only play bingos he can play there. So, and yeah, I have this rack now, relatively close to a bingo. And I'm thinking about what I should play here now. Like I was going to play Flan and Phi, but he just blocked that. So naturally, I can see I could still play Flap. ENNT, not a great leave on this board, so I didn't like that. I could play something like Nef, NEF, through the E up here, keeping some other decent tiles, but not particularly great. As a leave, it doesn't score that many points. So, and yeah, the places, bingo places on the board are kind of diminishing a little bit. So, I went with a play that was probably, let's say, outside the box. It's not really outside the box, but I decided to play something like Unfelt. Now that there are 5 unseen E's, I felt like I could probably draw an E again anyway. There are no N's left unseen to me, and only just 2 A's, so A's and N's are kind of scarce in this time. And this opens up the right side of the board, and only puts me down by 20 odd points, so I'm not that far behind at this stage. So I played Unfelt, 30 points, puts me 23 behind. And then he played Quate, Quate, underneath Rigorist, again putting himself 73 points in front. And I have this rack. I managed to draw very well. I draw DESTU, and that gives me a big bingo now of undates underneath Za along the treble. Again, don't particularly love the positioning of the A because the J is still unseen, but there's not much you can really deduce from the fact that he just played Quate. He could have kept the J potentially, or he may have just drawn the J, but I think I had to just play it because it scores so many points. All the other options either open up other things or don't score enough, and again he could potentially play down there as well. So yeah, undates would be best here. So yeah, with this now he decides to play Bowie, which is 36 points. Well, actually underscores this, but he is actually 38 points, putting him 22 points in front. And fortunately for me, I do draw, fortunately for me, at least he didn't have the J to play anything there because I ended up picking it up. So I have this rack now, and he has CDE HW as a final rack, which actually does not go out anywhere. So I'm kind of here now with a 22 point deficit, and I've got big tiles. Unfortunately, I can play something really good here. So if you ask the championship player what the best out and 2 sequence is, it's going to come up with the option that I came up with, and it is Jib. For 42, because I have Heap left, I can play Heap here for, what is that, 34 points. And I have a sneaky Effa as well that plays above Primate for 32. So I'm guaranteed 32 points minimum on next turn. And that's not including the 42 points I'm going to score here. So I'm already 20 points ahead. And he can't go out. So this is the best way to win, essentially, in this case. So there's that. He plays U for 31. I think he was trying to find a way to block Effa down here and Heap, but there's not enough options for him to do that. Again, I have a sneaky Effa above Primate anyway. So yeah, 31 points for that, and then I play my highest scoring outplay for 32. And that was it. Game over. I managed to win 502, and because Josh underscored Bowie by 2 points, it was actually a 461. So again, that was, it might have been the big turning point was the phony bingo on move 4. Again, the game would have completely changed by that point. Played that game pretty well in the grand scheme of things. Just needed to kind of stay on the, you know, straight and narrow after the phony and just trying to keep things moving. So I'm lucky to get that one on the board, and that puts me up to 11-7 at that point. Game 19 was against Alex Seaholm. I ended up losing this game pretty heavily here. Lost by 144 points. Yeah, not a great deal that I could do. He just got into an early lead and blocked it up. There was not much there. I had a rematch with Josh Castellano again in round 20. And this time he got me by 80 points. So actually at one stage he was 190 points ahead. I got my bingo down for 99 and then a 52 point play. And then there was a move in the middle of the game that could have went 50-50 if I actually played a different move. My other candidate move, I actually would have bingoed again, and I might have taken the lead, and who knows what would have happened after that. But it's possible that I could have almost done a Nigel Peltier and come back from almost 200 behind, but I didn't in the end. It was the wrong 50-50 choice. End up losing by 80 points. And then this game 21, final game of day 3 was against Mark Keenis, who I haven't played for a long time, and yeah, he I think he's from the same neck of the woods as Ancient Cosmographer, and he actually recited a few stories about Ancient Cosmographer and his brother about not knowing what Mark Keenis is going to do next, because he doesn't even know what's going to happen next. So he's very unpredictable with how he plays himself. So we're going to go through. Yeah, he's a very nice guy. There's no doubt about that. And we were actually just talking for the last like 10 minutes of that after the game. And to the point where my wife was ready for me to leave to go to dinner, and I was still talking to him, and we were like almost the last people. I think we were the last game left to finish. But yeah, very nice game. Very nice game, and we're gonna go through it right now. So let's go through this. Okay, so he's going first, and we will kick things off here. Let's just make this a bit wider. Okay. So, he has tons of story. He does, and he was going through a lot of them. Again, I haven't seen him or like played him for a very long time, so it was nice to get a game with him again this time. But yeah, in terms of like not knowing what he was going to do next, I don't think it. I think that it is encapsulated by his first move. if that can be a thing. And to the point where I actually don't even remember where he played this move. And then I had to ask him after the game why he played what he played, because it didn't make any sense to me what he did. Okay, so he ends up with. I mean, I don't know his full rack, but he has these letters. That's all I know. He ends up playing these 4 tiles, right? So he ends up having these 4 tiles, and after about, I don't know, 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, he ends up playing these 4 tiles. But he doesn't play anything standard here. He ends up playing gear, Gear, here, right in this spot. Without saying that he's a verti, of course, but bit erratic, yes. But I was like, why is he playing gear like this? I mean, the one of the few basic sort of kind of things that I teach, like the kids that I teach, is to not put the vowels next to the double letter squares at the start of the game. And I'm like, he could play Rage, he could play Ager, he could play Gare, he could play any of those things, or just not play these 4 tiles, or just put something else that doesn't do this. So it was weird why he played this. And Muffin Tentacle is coming out with extensions. So I will reveal why he played it like this. He actually ends up, well, he said, I just wanted to play gear because I wanted to play headgear. And I was like, okay. But then I was like, you played it in this position where headgear would not have hit the triple. and then I was like, okay. But then I looked at my score sheet and was like, he didn't have an H. He didn't have a D. And I was like, wait, were you even close to playing headgear? And he goes, no, I didn't have any of those tiles. So I was like, okay. I was like, interesting. Sitting at headgear for 14, exactly. It's just the star points. He would have got 140 points. Extra 10 times for star points. So, yeah, it was very strange. But he kept moving gear up and down and was like, is this in the right place or whatnot? And I don't really quite know what is going on, but he ends up playing gear like this. So, okay. Before I even made a move, I'm already baffled by what he is doing. And I cannot work out what he's trying to do here. Because I was like... Because at this stage, right? Let me just see. So I'm on 11 and 9 right now. I'm on 11 and 9. Again, this is a really, really strong field of players that are in this division. He's also on 11 and 9. So he's obviously doing something right here. So I'm like, and I don't have much information about Mark Keenis just in general because I haven't played him very much. And he's not really been active all that much in, like, say, major North American events of late. So, like, I haven't really played him much and I don't have much information about him. So then I was like, why is he playing gear? Is he setting up the Z or the X or something? Like, what's he doing? It was really weird, but he did this anyway. Okay. Anyway, I played the word Lil because I'm just trying to get rid of all my L's. And then he starts laughing because I just played off 3 L's. Turns out this was not the best player. I should have just played Ill and just set up the hook for Ill, and Lane would have been a better leave than Ain, but it is what it is. So yeah, then I do that. Then we play. Then he plays Oop for 25. And then I have this rack. I don't have a particularly great rack here. I do play the engine's favorite play of UFO, or UFO, 23 points. And then he plays Gert. So he ends up putting down on the board Gert. And then he changes his move to Gert with an E. So I'm like, wait, what's going? Again, I'm like, wait, what is he doing? He's playing off an E. Did he have too many E's? But like, surely you would have just played that first, right? You wouldn't have put down the I. Like, why is he changing it to an E? Like, what's going on here? So I'm confused by gear, and I'm confused by Gert. So that's 2 of the 3 moves that he's played. I'm now confused by what he's doing. Maybe ING, potentially. It's potential. It's potentially possible. Yeah, that could be it. But I didn't really know why he was doing that. But okay, because the E is much better than I, so that makes less sense. But okay. And I don't draw particularly well. I have 6 vowels. I end up playing the best move according to the engine, and that's how you pronounce it, Ngayo. Just getting rid of 3 vowels along the triple. Best move there. And then he also has a lot of vowels. He plays Ayi and Allah for 19 points. This is a very cagey game to start with because I have this rack. I don't have anything particularly great either. I'm looking at potential like parallel players next to IE, and I don't find anything great apart from what is the best play of DEI for 16. Doesn't take an S, but takes an L, which I do have. I have the last L, since I played all the other 3 Ls on the first turn. As well as other hooks, of course. But, yeah, this is not too bad. 16 points. And then he plays Veep for 18 through the E. So he does that. So weird, because he ends up playing a lot of vowels and then plays no vowels the next turn. So I was trying to work out what he had. But in any case, it didn't really matter too much in this case, because I have this rack, and I have a bingo that I found. The only playable bingo here, Outsmile, for 83 points. So at this stage, I was confused by what he was doing. He's on the same number of wins against me, don't forget. So again, as I said, he must be doing something right in this tournament, because he's he's obviously beaten a lot of strong players. But this is the point where I was like, I'm playing against someone who's making moves that don't make any sense, and I'm like, I have to win this game. I have to win. I mean, he is also the lowest seed in this tournament also. So I was like, if there's anyone in this division like that I should be aiming to beat, it should be him, and this is happening now. I have to play him, and I have to really try and make this count, you know? I mean, again, obviously he's a very strong player anyway, and having Mark Heenis as a lowest seed in any division is obviously makes this division very strong as it is anyway. But without Smile, I managed to get myself in front, so I was like, okay, I'm in good shape now. This is good. We're kind of turning the tide now. He was coming in the way underrated. He's done a ton of review in the past 6 months. Yes, I'm very aware that he is, you know, done very well in major tournaments in the past. Again, I don't know what he has. Again, I haven't really seen him in major tournaments of late, so yeah, I haven't seen him for a while, really. But yeah, he hits back with Ox, so standard play. He had the X. He had it. So, okay, cool. And now I'm a point behind. And yeah, my rack after the bingo, not particularly great. I have this rack. This side I want to try and keep the S. See if I can get rid of, shift some kind of awkward tiles. The best thing I could come up with actually was the best play, according to the engine, which was Wind and Outsmiled. Keeping EJS is probably about the best I can do. 27 points. Okay, that's fine. That kind of blocks the bingo lane. Again, I don't know what he has with Ox or Veep. It's like it's kind of slightly fishy. I just don't really know. But with Wind, that's okay. And then he plays another very strange play. He starts putting letters down here, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna bingo? Like, I'm just waiting for the bingo to come down, and then he plays ident for 22. I'm like, what? Like, what is he keeping here? So I was like, this is, yeah, really weird. Really weird. I think I asked him about this afterwards as well, and I think that he, oh man, I can't remember exactly what it was. But I think he kept something like EO or something. I think he kept EO. Which again, when that is being told, then that makes a lot more sense. Like, he must have something like that. But it was like, would he play something a bit more defensive here? Again, he might just be throwing caution to the wind and just going for forking the board and just hoping for something. I don't know, but anyway, in any case, ident comes down. And I was very happy to see this move, because, you know, it does open up the board, and I have this rack. So it gives me a very easy shot at scoring points here. So ident does take an S. And I play Jest for 64 points. So now I'm like, okay, I'm in good shape now. I'm doing good. You know, we kind of weathered the early storm. And we're in business now. Until... again, I didn't know what he kept. It was really confusing what was going on. But he bingos. He bingos with opaques. 100 points. 100. Okay. So then that comes down. I'm like, oh, okay. I cannot figure out what just happened. But he just got a 100-point bingo down, and now I'm behind again. And I'm like, Aiden just comes down. He just played 5 tiles, and he just bingos with opaques. And I was like, oh, what is going on here? But okay, that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, after Jest, I kept AEO, and then I end up drawing AEG blank. So of course I'm turn over the blank, and I'm like, phew. Okay, I now have the last blank since he just played it. But I have some really bad tiles here. I'm gonna have to do something about this. I'm gonna have to try and get this bingo, the next bingo now. Let's just go for it. There's not that many places to bingo. I have the S, and even the E goes after gear as well. There's not many other places to bingo, so let's just go for the bingo now before the board shuts down too much. But naturally, I try and find the highest scoring player that I've got here. I've got Jail for 16. Not many high scoring players available here anyway, but keeping AEE blank is not bad because there are only one other E left unseen to me, so it's not that bad. But yeah, let's just go for it. 260 now. I'm behind by a little bit, but that's fine. And then he plays Wiz, W-I-Z, very quickly here for 41 points. Now I'm 57 behind. I kept AEE blank. And to go with that, I draw ANO. And like, oh, this is not good. 1 S left. The board is shutting down a little bit here. I do have the A's to go with the Zo. But yeah, this is not quite going the way I wanted it to. I was envisaging this would go. But I don't have anything great to go with in the corner for the triple here. Again, there's only 1 S left. I'm kind of assuming that maybe he doesn't have it. He could have it also, but I can't really do anything with it right now. There's not much danger playing a Zo here because I have played all 4 L's already and I have the last blank, so it's not a big deal. So I could preserve my N and my blank for later on, and I can just play this for 21. Let's just do that, and we'll come back to this another time. That's fine. So this is the score. I'm now down by 37 points. Then he immediately plays Husk and Swift. And that scores 61 points. So this game where I was kind of in very good shape after Jest, I was almost 70 points ahead. I'm now somehow finding myself 98 points behind. And I'm looking at my rack here. So I kept EENO blank. And then what do I draw? I draw 2 N's from this bag. So I'm looking at the scoreboard and I'm like, what just happened? And I'm looking at this rack now and I'm like, how have I lost this game? What has just happened? What has just happened? Because most of these moves have also kind of played themselves. Why would I draw NN? I just randomly draw the last 2 N's that were in this game. And I'm like, okay, cool. What am I supposed to do with this now? Okay. So I'm like, okay, let's not get tilted by this. Alright? I'm just like with any game, you should try not get tilted. Let's just play the tiles as they come. Let's just see what we can do. But at this moment in time, he's just played Husk. There are not many bingo places available now. And I have now got 3 N's and 2 E's. Yeah, it does seem like a bad idea. Hi, Cooper, yes. It does seem like a bad idea to draw NN. Yes, I really was trying not to do that. I really was trying. But somehow it happened. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I did end up finding the best play here. So I'm like, I have to get rid of an E. I had to get rid of 2 N's, and then I found something. So I played Enern. Perfect. All right, let's go. 18 points, not great. Again, none of these moves on this score many points, but I'm getting rid of the 3 tiles I don't want, and it opens, I know, kind of a rubbish lane for bingo, which doesn't score anything, but at least it's a bingo lane. It's better than nothing. Okay, so I'm like, fine, let's do this. 18 points. And then he plays Fava here, F-A-V-A. So this was an interesting move because he ends up telling me after the game that he ends up having this rack. So because I was asking what he had FAV, and then he had CHRT on this rack also. So you can see in the bag there's actually a shortage of vowels from his point of view. If I just save this now, you can see a shortage of vowels. Well, maybe not from his point of view, but maybe from mine. But he was thinking of playing Fratch here, which would have been very strong. But he couldn't remember if Fratch was a word or if it was just Fratchy. So he didn't play this move. This would have scored a lot of points. He's already 80 ahead. And this would have put him up by like 110 or so. And I'm like, how am I supposed to overturn that lead? That's like really not going to happen. But in any case, he said he wasn't sure, so he played Father. At least luckily doesn't really block too much. At least gives me a bingo lane with the F potentially. He gets rid of his V. So he plays that. Good news for me now is that I kept ENO blank. And I finally draw pretty well. I draw CRT blank. CRT, sorry. So let me just alphabetize that for you. So I have this right now. So I'm like, okay, let's just update the score. I'm now down, well, I'm still down by 98 points. And I'm looking at what bingos I have available here. And I guess everything I have here doesn't really score me very much. Like I have the F here. I have things that actually block the board up after gears or geary. And anything above the E. So then I'm like, okay, 7 tiles in the bag, I'm going to have to score some points here. And then, of course, I have a good play. And I think some of you have seen this now. But here's the play. I played Cornhusk for 51 points. And I'm like, okay. And then he starts laughing because he says, I wrote this word down on my score sheet after I played Husk. And he said, I was a few letters away from getting it. So he started laughing after that. And again, Cornhusk, good move, of course. So this is what I need. I need a high scoring play and then a bingo to have any chance of winning this game because I'm so far behind. Not ideal that the C is where it is because I would like to use the C to bingo with up here. But again, beggars can't be choosers here. We've got a good play. 51 points and keeps the blank. ET blank, so they combine pretty well with what's left in the bag. That's pretty good. I'm okay. And there's still places to bingo, so we're good. So that was by far the best play available here. Like even if we just try to simulate this move, you can see by far the highest winning percentage available here. It gives me a double the win percentage of the next thing. Gives me a 39% chance of winning. 38% chance. Playing Trouts onto EF or Father, 16%. It's almost a 2.5x win percentage on the next thing. Really need to find that move. Those are the moves where it's like, okay, you have to find these. This is like almost do or die in this situation. Luckily I found it, so happy to have found that. And then, the letters left were not particularly great. So in this situation, actually do I know what tiles he had? Don't know if I know what tiles he had, but oh actually maybe I do. figure out what it was. Oh yes, I think he had this. Is that right? I think he has this rack. Is that right? No, maybe not the T. Maybe not the T. Maybe it was something else. No, I think he had this actually. Was it there? Wait, no. I'm actually not even quite sure what he had, but it was something along these lines, or even this, or something. I don't. Maybe it probably wasn't that. Might have been. Oh man, I don't really know. Or something like this. It was something like that. Yeah, he didn't really know what to do, but the fact is there's only 3 in the bag, and he's now 47 points in front. He's actually not that far in front now, and with the bag looking very very likely that a bingo is going to come down, it now makes things very difficult for him to really do anything. So in the end, he ends up playing the word rich. He empties the bag, but crucially, he doesn't block anything really with this. So he ends up playing rich for 18 points, and with my ET blank, I end up drawing. I end up drawing this, which is pretty much as perfect as you can hope, because before rich, I actually had the word breathe here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe would fit pretty much anywhere on this board. And I was like, okay, I'm just now hoping that he empties the bag, and then that's what he does. So, yeah, very lucky here, because I picked out good tiles. I drew some of the vowels that I needed, and I also played the highest scoring bingo to go out here with the rebates for 72. And then that gave me a win. Somehow, being 60 or 70 ahead mid-game, and then suddenly going 100 behind almost, and then I end up winning by 30. It was a crazy game. Catching in with 22 points in this rack, and I win 443 to 414. I shouldn't give away all of Mark's flaws, but his tracking is very suspect, and you might have thought the pull was worse than it was. Maybe so, but he didn't make that excuse at the time. So I'm assuming that his child tracking was accurate at that point. Again, this was game 21. I don't know if it means that your child tracking would be less accurate as a tournament goes on, or maybe after 20 games already you kind of would be in a bit of a flow. I don't really know. I guess it works different for different people, but he didn't say anything about that at the time. He just kind of bemoaned about his lack of vowels at the end, and then just not really knowing what to do next at the end of the game, and he couldn't really block everything. So yeah, the fact that he didn't block anything at the end kind of helped me out a lot. Again, the fact that I found Cornhusk, big move in this game to get a leg up and to be able to bingo and overtake him on at the end. So yeah, very lucky game to win on game 21 on that one there. So that ended day 3 with a win, and I was not expecting to win this game coming after Husk being played. Very lucky. I was counting lucky stars there, finishing the day at 12 and 9. Okay, so just to kind of keep things moving on here, game 22 I played against Peter Armstrong. I won by 90 in this one. Got out to an early lead, and never really looked back actually. He ended up playing a disconnecting 9 here and then threatening a bingo at the end, but I had the right tile at the end that he needed, so didn't really matter too much in the end, but was okay there. Up to 13 and 9. Game 23 I played against Wellington on the stream. This was the game where he ended up misspelling Baiju. Again, for those that may have seen that on the stream, he ended up phonying Baiju. He transposed the A and the I, and he actually genuinely thought that it was actually spelt that way. So I ended up challenging it on my phone, and then he was like, "Huh?" And then he wanted to get his own phone out and try and challenge it, and then it still obviously came up with the red X. But that gave me the impetus to end up winning by 155 points, as I kind of took control after that mistake. So up to 14-9. Next game 24, playing against Dennis Ikegaregor. I win that one by 140 points. Lucky game there as well. I got off to an early lead and then bingo twice in the middle of the game. 15-9. So in game 25, I play against Alex Seaholm. I win by 30 points. I ended up getting stuck with the C, which actually ended up hemorrhaging like 50 spread points, which I probably shouldn't have done, but still enough in the tank to win that game. So I'm up to 16-9. Game 26, I play against Axotypo, who's probably in the chat still somewhere maybe. End up losing to him by 27 points. I was kind of trailing pretty much the entire game, I think, and I managed to try and overcome a 110 point deficit. I played Skyer, Skyr, along a triple for 62 points, and then 2 moves later extended ES to Centrodes for a 69 point bingo. But again, too little too late. It was more of a spread saving move there. I think I probably could have made some other moves that may have given me like a point something win percentage extra, but it was not really worth trying. So 27 point loss there. And then game 27, I play against Winter, which I managed to win. Managed to bingo early on, and then in the middle, and they kept it closed. So won by 54 points to take me to 17 wins and 10 losses with 1 game left to go. And this is probably gonna be the last game I'm gonna analyze tonight, especially for World Cup. So this is another game, the final game of day 4 against Dave Wiegand. So let's have a look at this one. I'll try. I mean, again, this was a game that was pretty well played, just like the other game against Dave. But I'm gonna go through it again because all these games again, I always keep saying this, but all these games against Dave is always fun and always well fought. So I like going through these ones. Okay. So let's update the thing for you here. So yeah, my first rack not particularly good. A lot of duplicate tiles. Not great, but yeah, find the best play or the best word of Tong. Relatively straightforward play here with the O on the center star. Best move. Then he plays Defy for 33 points. And luckily I draw into a bingo, so I kept TON. End up drawing 3 vows, but luckily gives me multiple options for bingos here. To have Illusion or Outline. And I decided to play Illusion going this way instead, so I did that. I know I don't particularly love the E being hanging out there, but the E hanging out this way is also dangerous. And I did think about playing Illusion with the N out there as well, but I went for this. I was like, 2 extra points, maybe it's fine. And then he plays Mauve. And then I was actually pretty close to a bingo here. I have this rack, and I was like, there's got to be something here, surely, but he ends up blocking Ice Boats, which would be a natural 9 timer on that E. Notably there, but not to be in this case. So yeah, I end up playing Ob, keeping some good tiles. I could have played Cobia for a little bit more, but Ob is the second best play. It's only about a point behind Cobia in the end. So that's what I did. Should have played Cobia then really, because he played Neddy and Mai for 51, so that would have been good to save there, but again, not to know. I have this rack though. I kept some good tiles, so I ended up drawing into a bingo. I play the best move according to the engine, and it's stoical for 77 underneath Dob. So that's that. That is 77, and then he plays next to Neddy and plays wipe, so he keeps scoring well in the top left corner of the board. And despite my 2 bingos, he's only 20 points behind. I have this rack now. Relatively straightforward move. With the J in hand, I have Jag and above stoical, so that scores 42, puts me a bit further in front. And then he plays beef underneath it. So I draw into some very awkward tiles here. I draw a lot of R's. So I have rent as a leave. I drew RRV. So I was thinking of playing rover through the O, but it ended up keeping NRT, and I was like, well, it's not bad, but maybe if I can get rid of another consonant, that would be great. And I do find a move that does that and actually scores a little bit more at the same time, and that was pervert through the PE of at the top of the board, keeping NR on my rack. That looks very good. And according to the engine, the best move playable, which was that. So happy to see that. And then Dave bingos. First bingo of the game. With 2 blanks, no less. He ends up playing Acarids, which ends up being his highest scoring play as well. Oh, wait, I don't need to necessarily... Just press the simulate, but I don't actually need to necessarily do that. But you can see with the choices, it's a high scoring play. No, so he has the D. Sorry, I'm no, that's okay, that's okay. Yeah, Acarids, yeah. And it's funny because he actually said, after beef, he actually didn't have any blanks. He actually drew both blanks after beef, because he actually spent a lot of time on that beef move, and I was confused. I think he said he kept like AID or something, or something like that, and then he drew into all the other stuff. So I was like, okay, well, you know, good players can be lucky sometimes too, you know. It is how it is. But yeah, he plays Acarids, and then I have this. I have this rack now. Again, 1 letter off a relatively high probable bingo, but here just looking to try and score well and get close to a bingo. So I play Wove for 28. So I did that. Then he plays Wira. That's that. That's 24 points. And then I have this rack. Relatively lucky that I drew the Q, and an open U of Illusion is sitting right there for me. So good timing on that front. I play Quail for 48 points. Highest, well, say highest scoring. Well, of course it's the highest scoring play, but also the best move according to the engine as well. So that's nice. What wasn't quite so nice was that Dave bingoed again. He plays Saponin for 82. So that puts him pretty far in front now. And I'm sitting there with not particularly great tiles here. So Saponin takes the E hook, and this is a very dangerous spot to kind of leave open. I have these tiles where I can potentially score at least some points, but I can't get rid of the H and the K together along the triple, and I don't have an E for Saponin, so What do I do here? So close to Cornhusk again. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It would be nice to get that as a bingo at this moment in time. That would have been great, but not to be. So yeah, I ended up trying to block this top part of the board. I played Hun, which actually is a bit further down the list on the static equity thing here. And lots of other options that were playable, like Haku or Dunk or Husk. Again, we're seeing that move again in the bottom left corner of the board. A lot of these moves don't block the top right part of the board, and maybe that's okay in this case because I'm behind once you obviously simulate this move, but I really didn't want to lose the game on one turn now. There's so many E's unseen. It was, and then the X and the Z, and then there's some other like good scoring plays that could go across here for a lot of points. It seemed unnecessary to kind of hemorrhage those points up, and then fall even further behind to a point where the bingo might not even make a difference. So I wanted to just take this spot out first, kind of like get your bearings, move to about 40 points behind or so, and then kind of go again. So I did Hun here, and then he plays Ooze, O-O-Z-E, taking out this S hook for jab and quails. He later told me that if I didn't play Hun, he would have played G's, G-E-E-Z, next to Saponin, and that would have scored 82 points, and then it would have been game over. So to some degree, then kind of like your spidey senses are kind of going off, and realizing what you should be doing here to not lose the game in one move. But yes, when he played Ooze, I was not happy because I had this rack. I had Kurtles to play and jab, so Clister, and there's one other Kilters also as bingos. That 3 different bingos on this rack. Until I realized that with the E in open space, I actually have a bingo there too. This bingo here, I don't know how you pronounce it. This place, and I was very happy to find it. And I was like, oh, okay. There are 6 tiles in the bag, so I can play that. I'm now just kind of like free falling into the bag here. Let's just hope the bag, whatever's left here, is favorable for me. There's still an X, there's still an S, there's an H, there's an N, there's some good scoring tiles, there's some actually good tiles left in the bag to score well with. I'm going to move into a small lead as well. I'll actually move into an 11-point lead. So let's see what happens here, right? Let's see what happens. So what ends up happening is that he has this rack, and I draw into AEHOST, which actually on the face of it doesn't look that bad because I have hazes down here. But the problem mainly lies with what Dave can do, and you'll be able to see if you ask the championship player here. He has a few winning plays. He has Remix underneath Saponin, or even just Mix. Then he can go out with more go out still. Even things like XI and Rouge also give him ways to win the game. Potentially, I don't know if this actually really wins, but yeah. So yeah, of course, Dave being Dave, he finds his best play. He plays Remix for 51 points, and then I have this rack here, and I do play my best play of Hazes for 42. So slightly behind here, but he has GU to go out, and he plays Fug for 14, his best outplay here as well. So this game ended 474 for me, 490 to Dave. Again, 11 moves each. Again, very, very enjoyable game despite the result. But again, it's always a well fought affair with all these games. Thank you to Muffin Tentacle for the gigantifying and emote. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, ended up this game 28, which was day 4, with a loss, which puts me at 17-11. So yeah, going into the final day, I'm actually going back on the stream for the start of day 5 against Wellington again, and I still have an outside chance of winning this tournament. But game 29 did not go my way whatsoever. I don't know if you would have seen that on the stream, but he got off to a very quick lead and a quick start, and I drew some very, very bad tiles in this game. Ended up losing by 155. Puts me out of contention. And then I play for a third time, Axe Typo. And yeah, I couldn't really do too much because he bingoed twice at the start. He already had 220 points after 3 turns. But I did get to, when we got towards the end, I really tried to fight for it, and I narrowed the gap to just 7 points towards the end, but he bingoed again at the end with Skatole, Skatole, which ended up being pretty much the difference here. I ended up losing by 55 points. And then the final game was against Alex Seaholm. Again, kind of similar, really. My luck was kind of out here. He bingoed twice near the middle, and then bingoed a third time later on in the game as well. I did bingo 3 times as well, but my start was really bad. I only had 78 points after the first 5 turns, whereas he had already raced into a 154 point lead, but I ended up only losing by 50 points. This was really only notable for me, from my point of view, was that I played Aventail, Aventail, one short the triple. So like if I just kind of illustrate that on the board, I actually played Aventail like this, and then the next move I stuck an E on the end of it. I played ZEE and Aventail with an E, and that drew a 5-point challenge, so got 77 points for that, just to narrow down the spread. So ended up losing that game also, so I ended up losing all 3 games on the final day. I also, of course, with that last, where you can see the scores on the screen, I also lost the last game of the 4th day, so I ended up losing 4 games in a row, going from 17-10 to 17-14, and finishing in 10th place in the end. Whereas at the start of day 5, I was in 4th or 5th place or something. So I had a chance of getting some money. I didn't quite make it in the end. But you know what? That's just the way it goes sometimes in Scrabble, as you guys already know. Can't win them all, but and sometimes the tiles don't go your way, so that's what it is. But again, Wellington, very, very worthy winner, and Enoch and Etta, who are both 2nd and 3rd in the tournament, came back from seemingly nowhere. They put on a real comeback towards the latter kind of third of the tournament, and they finished in the top 3. But yeah, it was at least nice to be competitive and playing well. Again, not perfectly, as you guys can see, but playing decent Scrabble after a bit more time, a bit more well prepared this summer than I was in previous years. But yeah, it was enjoyable to play in. My wife Lindsay was playing also in Division 2 in CSW. She did not quite do as well as she had hoped, so that was not quite as good. But my daughter Leah, who because this is a WIGPO event, she was actually forced to play in Division 3 in WoW and not Division 4, because she had done so well in Albany 4th of July event, where her rank went up 300 points. So they take the highest rating that you have out of WoW and CSW. So her peak rating was actually 1300. Again, she's a 13-year-old. So her peak rating was 1300 for CSW. So that pushed her into the Division 3 rating band. So she was actually playing against a lot of players who are much better than her, or at least a little bit more experienced and don't make as many mistakes, which I think she found she could feel the different step in ability. So she finished I think second from bottom in the end, but she was the bottom seed. And yeah, it was a difficult tournament, but again, those are the kind of learning experiences you're gonna come across on your way up the ranks. So yeah, that was kind of what happened as a kind of a quick rundown through what happened at World Cup. Again, you can always type in the exclamation point standings if you want to see the final standings of both WoW and CSW divisions. You can go ahead and do that anytime you want. But yeah, that pretty much concludes my tournament analysis of World Cup 2025. Again, there were lots of other games that I played, but I felt like these ones were probably the most notable. And yeah, I think that is all. What I can say is that I'll be back again on Thursday, and I'll be doing more tournament analysis, not just for World Cup, but I'll be doing it for SPC for that one. So I have, these are my, wait, I can actually now put it in full screen now because you don't need to necessarily see the board anymore. But I have all my games from World Cup right here, and I have got them all. And I have already analyzed all of my games from SPC. So all my games are right here. I have my games from SPC here as well. I've already analyzed them all. They have actually analyzed them all whilst I was there. So I will to bring you some of those games for Thursday's stream. And I hope you guys will be there for it too, to be able to see what happened with that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the stream. I know this is, I mean, I don't normally get to play in so many in real life tournaments these days, but I hope you enjoyed some of the more notable games that I had played in World Cup. And we'll be back again in a couple of days for more game analysis that were played in SPC in Baltimore that we just came home from less than a week ago. So again, if you guys have enjoyed the stream and you don't already follow this channel, please hit that follow button right now. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you also want to help support this channel, then you can always become a subscriber, just like what Muff with Tentacle did earlier on in the stream as well. You can just press the subscribe button, or if you have a free Amazon Prime sub, then feel free to use that, or consider using that for the month. That would be great. Also, you can also give some bits. Again, completely up to you if you want to do that or not. But yeah, those are ways you can help support this channel and the stream. And yeah, we'll be back again in a couple of days. So what am I going to do now? Let me see if I can raid somebody. Actually, just go raid Axel Typo. It looks like he's been streaming for the last half hour or so. And he's doing some music, so let's go and raid him. So yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Come back here for on Thursday night. Again, we're going to start these streams a little bit earlier than normal, maybe around 8:15, 8:30 Central Time, rather than 8:45 Central Time. But yeah, hope you be here for that. And I've got more games to show you. So until then, take care of yourselves, everyone, and good night.